Hello friends, welcome back to the homestead. If this is your first time dropping by, I'm Denise and I want to welcome everyone to part 2 in our series where we're showing you how we converted a school bus into a greenhouse. Now you may be wondering why we're converting a school bus into a greenhouse. All of that's explained in part 1 of our series. If you missed part 1, I'll invite you to go back and watch that video first so that this one makes a little more sense to you. This actual process of doing the conversion to get to where we are today takes us almost an entire year to do. We had to work in small chunks of time as we could amongst all the other regular farm chores and deer farm chores, as well as working full-time. But before the bus could be put in place, we had to remove the remains from the former greenhouse. After much discussion, we decided to put the bus in the same location as the original greenhouse had been in. We felt that this location was best because the bus would get both morning and evening sun. And we were also in the process of building an addition to the barn with an alley for moving our animals. Those are the poles you see behind there. This new addition would have electricity, and that would also provide us power for powering things in the bus as well. We tried to save as many of the panels and roof windows from the former greenhouse as possible to repurpose them on the bus if we needed to, but a little more on that a little later. We were able to move the bus with our tractor and chains and drag it into place. Our garden season for last year was over, so basically we just ended up dragging the bus through the garden and pushing it in place with our tractor. Little did I know that getting it moved into place was probably one of the easier parts of this whole process. It took several days and multiple attempts to level the bus before we got it where we were somewhat happy with it. But of course there were problems. The ground at this time was soft from some late summer rains, and the area was not completely level, so we had to try to block up under the tires to help us better level the bus. One side of the ground was a little bit softer than the other, and we needed more clearance for our jack. So we added wooden blocking under the tires to help us provide more clearance for our jack before permanently blocking up under the axle on the left and right side of the bus. Let me take you back to that day and an issue we ran into as we were leveling. So we're jacking it up again because the inside tire was flat, and now we've got to move the block that we got under it to the outside tire. So here we go. Okay, so here we are crawling under the bus. So the ground is definitely not level. You can see that to the right side of the screen, the ground is a little bit higher. So we had to jack, and he started by blocking up under that right side. Hey, come here a minute. I'm just noticing something. I want you to look at this video in a minute. So we're going to take the 2x out, because what we've done is when we jacked up this side and got it where we wanted it, I realized we got a gap here. So now if this be the right side, the door side of the bus is now back on the wheels, so we've got to jack this back up a little bit and try to replace those 2x's with something else to level it out. Removing the seats was a whole ordeal, and this was the part that took most of the time in this entire process. We tried using an impact wrench to remove the screws securing the bench seats to the floor, and we were able to do that successfully for one seat and one seat only. The rest of the 22 seats we had to have a hand grinder, and we took it to each of the 12 screws securing each bench seat to the floor, and had to grind each screw head off in order to remove the seat. The flooring of the bus was a rubber mat that ran down each side of the bus. It was basically dry rotted. Some parts pulled up easily, and others had to be pried up from where it was glued down. The mat running down the center aisle was able to be saved. Once the flooring was finally removed, the bus had to be swept out multiple times. We swept down walls as well. We decided it would be best to seal the floor since we knew we would be using water in the bus. Thankfully, the rust you see is only a surface level rust, and it didn't affect the integrity and strength of our floor. So we have all the seats removed, all the flooring removed, and it's been swept out. And so now we're going to pressure wash it to get the last layer of dirt out before we seal the floor. Sealing the floor was as easy as rolling a sealant on. Due to its durability, we chose a rubberized coating as our sealer. Water beads up on it, and it can easily be swept out as needed. By the time we were able to get the bus to this point, it was approaching winter. All the gardening things that had been in my original greenhouse were moved to be stored in the bus for the winter. We also tried to overwinter some ferns and some mums just to see how they would do. And that brings us to the end of part 2 in our series. Please come back for part 3, which will bring you up to speed on where we are today and our future plans for the bus, including the upgrades that we plan to make. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found it of value. We hope to see you soon. Bye, friends.